Chosen one. The cosmic scales just tilted in your favor, and someone's entire world is crashing down because you deflected an attack that was supposed to destroy your confidence. Divine law reveals that when pride comes before a fall, the universe often uses the very person being targeted as the instrument of that fall. Someone is lying awake, replaying every word you said, desperately trying to figure out how their foolproof humiliation strategy backfired so spectacularly. What you experienced as standing up for yourself was actually a spiritual boomerang returning to sender with devastating accuracy. You just bruised their ego after enduring their calculated attempt to humble you. And the reversal was so complete, it shattered their entire superiority complex. You're about to discover why your authentic response to their manufactured drama created a psychological earthquake that's still sending shockwaves through their carefully constructed facade. While you've been focused on your vision, building your future with patient precision, someone has been studying you from the shadows. Your movements have been tracked, your patterns analyzed, what appeared to be vulnerabilities identified. This wasn't a casual observation. This was strategic surveillance by someone who saw your rising star and decided it needed to be extinguished before it got too bright. But what you need to understand about this person is that the actions weren't solo or impulsive. This moment had been planned for weeks, maybe months. Others had been enlisted in whispered campaigns against you. Seeds of doubt planted in professional circles. A network created of people who would witness your supposed humbling. This was meant to be a public execution of your confidence, your credibility, your right to occupy the space you've earned. The attack didn't come because you did something wrong. The attack came because you did everything right. Your patient building, your strategic investments, your quiet confidence as you stack resources and develop skills. All of that represented a threat to their position, their ego, their sense of control. Your light getting brighter created panic in someone who thrives in dimmer environments. But let's get specific about how this surveillance actually worked. Maybe seemingly innocent questions were asked about your projects, your timeline, your resources. Maybe committees were volunteered for, or groups joined specifically to monitor your activities. Maybe relationships were cultivated with people in your circle, not out of genuine friendship, but to gather intelligence about your moves. You became the subject of study for success patterns, but not to learn from them, to find ways to disrupt them. How you handle pressure was observed, looking for cracks in your composure. Who supports you was noted with plans to plant seeds of doubt in those relationships. When you're most confident and when you might be more vulnerable was catalogued, timing the attack for maximum impact. This wasn't random spite. This was calculated psychological warfare designed to knock you off your trajectory, just as momentum was building strongest. The most insidious part is how this reconnaissance was disguised as concern, mentorship, or friendly interest. Questions about your goals came under the pretense of wanting to help. But really, gathering ammunition was the purpose. Unsolicited advice was offered that was actually designed to make you second-guess your instincts. Stories were shared of others who failed in similar pursuits, not to warn you, but to plant seeds of doubt about your own probability of success. Opportunities existed to align with your rising energy instead of opposing it. Becoming your ally was possible, your supporter, someone who benefited from your ascension. But war was chosen instead of wisdom, opposition instead of opportunity. Your success was looked at and felt diminished by rather than inspired by when the mouth opened to deliver what was thought would be your devastating blow. Something never anticipated happened. Divine protection activated around you like an invisible shield, and every word crafted to wound you bounced back with supernatural precision. Defense wasn't your only action. Exactly the correction needed was accidentally delivered in exactly the tone that would shatter their facade, with exactly the timing that would expose them to everyone watching. Right now, while that moment gets replayed in the mind, trying to rewrite history, trying to figure out where the strategy went wrong, complete unawareness exists of what's building around this situation. The people who witnessed your interaction aren't having the conversations expected. Instead of discussing how you were put in your place, observers are talking about your grace under pressure, your natural authority, your ability to handle opposition with such effortless precision that their attack looked amateur. This is creating a ripple effect never anticipated. Group chats are active, but the narrative isn't going their way. Phone calls are being made, but the story being told is their humiliation, not yours. What was thought to be orchestrating your public downfall actually created a public demonstration of your power, your protection, your unshakable foundation. What's not realized is that this failed attack has actually elevated your status in ways never imagined. People who were neutral observers before are now paying attention to you with newfound respect. Colleagues who might have taken their word as gospel are now questioning their judgment about everything. Leaders who witness the interaction are making mental notes about your grace under fire and their lack of professionalism under pressure. In professional settings, this translates to opportunities blocked before now opening wider for you. The promotion sabotaged by making you look unprepared or unworthy has become more likely because decision-makers saw how you handle adversity. The project undermined by questioning your capabilities is now attracting more support because people witnessed your competence in real-time conflict resolution. If this happened in social circles, the dynamics have shifted permanently. Friends who might have been influenced by whispered campaigns against you are now seeing true character. Social invitations hoped would decrease for you are actually increasing because people want to be around someone who commands that kind of natural authority. The isolation attempted to be created around you has boomeranged into their own social exile. Even in family dynamics, if that's where this played out, relatives who might have bought into narratives about your choices, your path, your decisions, are now witnessing firsthand that you can handle yourself with dignity and strength. Family members recruited to apply pressure on you to conform, to settle, to lower your standards, are now seeing that recruitment was based on false information about your character and capabilities. Your response wasn't calculated or planned. You simply responded from your authentic truth. And authentic truth is the most devastating weapon against manufactured opposition. While every angle had been prepared, every subtle insult crafted, every psychological pressure point calculated, you destroyed their entire strategy with natural authenticity. You hit the bullseye without aiming, because when you're aligned with divine purpose, you can't miss. But the stakes are escalating beyond just this one interaction. This person's obsession with what happened is preventing seeing the bigger picture of what's unfolding. While being stuck replaying their failure, you're continuing to build momentum that will make their original attack look insignificant. The very thing attempted to be stopped is accelerating and they're not part of it. If this message activated your knowing, hype this video to connect with more chosen ones on this journey. Here's the moment where everything clicks into place, where all connections become clear, where the full scope of what just happened becomes visible. That person didn't just randomly choose you for humiliation. You were chosen because something was recognized in you that couldn't be ignored, couldn't be dismissed, couldn't be diminished. No matter how hard trying occurred, what was seen when looking at you was star quality that threatened their mediocrity. Potential was witnessed that made their own limitations unbearable. Confidence was observed that exposed their own insecurities. Instead of being inspired by your example, instead of asking how similar energy could be cultivated, destruction was chosen. The decision was made that if rising to your level wasn't possible, you would be pulled down to theirs. But let's talk about what this star quality actually looks like in your daily life, because you might not even recognize it. When you walk into meetings, conversations pause slightly as people unconsciously adjust their energy to match yours. When you speak about your vision, even skeptics find themselves leaning in, caught up in your certainty. When you make decisions, those decisions carry a weight that influences everyone around you, even when the decision seems small or insignificant to you. This person recognized something in your energy that couldn't be replicated or manufactured in themselves. Maybe it's the way you don't need constant validation to move forward with your plans. Maybe it's how you can sit comfortably in silence while others feel compelled to fill every gap with nervous chatter. Maybe it's your ability to disagree without becoming disagreeable, to hold your position without becoming defensive, to maintain your standards without becoming judgmental of others who choose differently. Your presence has a stabilizing effect that people notice, even if articulation is difficult. In chaotic situations, others naturally look to you for cues about how people find themselves seeking your perspective, not because you proclaimed yourself an expert, but because your energy suggests access to information others don't have. In moments of conflict, even people who barely know you expect you to be the voice of reason, the one who can see all sides and find the path forward. This is what threatened them so deeply. It wasn't your achievements envied, though those certainly bothered them. It wasn't your opportunities coveted, though those were definitely wanted too. It was your natural authority, your effortless influence, your ability to command respect without demanding it that made them feel powerless by comparison. Recognition occurred that no matter how hard work happened to manipulate situations, manufacture credibility, or force others to acknowledge their importance, you simply existed in a space they couldn't access through effort alone. Power never existed to diminish you because your light doesn't come from external validation. Your confidence isn't built on other people's opinions. Your authority isn't granted by human institutions. You operate from divine connection, spiritual alignment, authentic power that can't be touched by manufactured attacks. When humbling was attempted, it was essentially trying to convince the sun to apologize for shining. When seeds of doubt were attempted to be planted, it was trying to make an ocean question its depth. The entire premise of the attack was built on a fundamental misunderstanding of what was being dealt with. You don't just have star quality. You are the star in your own story, and stars don't dim themselves for people who prefer darkness. What began as a strategy to humble you has transformed into divine confirmation of your calling. What started as an attack on your confidence has become proof of your spiritual protection. What launched as a plan to diminish your influence has resulted in amplifying your authority beyond what was originally imagined possible. This is where the circular nature of spiritual law reveals its perfect justice. What was given was what was wanted you to receive. And through the mysterious workings of divine mathematics, exactly what was given was received, multiplied. Humiliation wasn't and received back with interest. Doubt was sent, and now questioning of everything about their own judgment occurs. Attack was sent, and now wounds are felt in ways that can't be healed with their own understanding. But the psychological torment being experienced goes beyond simple embarrassment. Every morning when waking up, the first thing that floods consciousness is the memory of that moment when the carefully planned attack crumbled. Every interaction now carries the shadow of that failure. Every time someone looks at them, wondering occurs if that person witnessed the defeat or heard about it secondhand. Cognitive dissonance on steroids is being experienced. The entire self-image was built on being the person who could outmaneuver others, who could identify weaknesses and exploit them, who could control social dynamics through strategic manipulation. But you shattered that identity without even trying to fight. Outmaneuvering didn't happen. You simply stood in your truth, and their entire strategy collapsed against that simple authenticity. Now, questioning of everything previously thought known about power dynamics, social influence, and their own capabilities occurs. If being so wrong about you was possible, what else has been misjudged? If reading of the situation was so far off, how can instincts be trusted about anything else? If someone thought could be easily humbled could flip the script so effortlessly, what does that say about understanding of themselves and others? This uncertainty is bleeding into every area of life. Decisions previously made with confidence now feel overwhelming because judgment can't be trusted. Relationships thought figured out now seem mysterious because realization has occurred that people might have been misread all along. Professional moves previously calculated with precision now feel risky because the formula for success has been proven fundamentally flawed. The worst part is that proper hatred of you can't even occur because deep down knowledge exists that you weren't wrong. Knowledge exists that everything you said needed to be said. Knowledge exists that their intentions were exactly as transparent as you made them appear. Knowledge exists that their facade was exactly as thin as you revealed it to be. This isn't a case where villainization of you can make them feel better. Being stuck with the uncomfortable truth that you were the righteous one in this interaction is the reality. Meanwhile, every attempt to dim your light only made it shine brighter. Every attack on your foundation only revealed how solid it really is. Every effort to knock you off your path only confirmed you're on the right one. The universe used their opposition as fuel for your acceleration. Their resistance is proof of your importance. Their failed strategy is evidence that you're protected by forces they can't comprehend. But the transformation goes deeper than just their defeat and your victory. You're no longer the same person who walked into that interaction. Discovery has occurred about yourself that changes how you move through the world. Learning has happened that you carry divine protection, that your authentic truth is more powerful than anyone's calculated deception, that your natural authority doesn't require external validation. As this person sits in their bruised ego, replaying their failure, trying to manage conversations they can't control, you're entering a phase where everything accelerates. The energy that was directed towards stopping you is now propelling you forward. The attention focused on your supposed weaknesses is highlighting your undeniable strengths. The network attempted to be turned against you is now watching your continued rise with increased respect. Your patient investments are about to pay compound interest. The vision you've been building behind the scenes is ready for public revelation. The skills you've developed in private are about to be displayed on larger stages. The foundation you built while plotting of your downfall was occurring is now strong enough to support the empire you're about to construct. This is where the missed opportunity becomes most obvious. Being part of this expansion could have happened. Being beneficiaries of your success instead of casualties of their own envy was possible. Writing checks from shared victories instead of writing apologies for public humiliation could have been the reality. But opposition was chosen over opportunity. And now watching from the sidelines as you build without them is the consequence. What's particularly fascinating is how the very network attempted to be turned against you is now working in your favor. Colleagues who witnessed the failed attack are now more interested in collaborating with you because your professionalism under pressure was seen. Mentors who might have been neutral are now actively advocating for you because recognition occurred of someone who can handle conflict with grace. Competitors who were watching from the sidelines are now approaching you with respect because your natural authority in action was witnessed. The opportunities blocked by questioning your readiness are now accelerating because decision-makers saw evidence of your capability in real time. That leadership position you were hoped to be made to doubt deserving is now being discussed with your name at the top of the list. That project sabotage by undermining your credibility now has additional funding because investors witnessed your composure and competence. Firsthand, if alignment with your energy instead of opposition had been chosen, benefiting from this wave of momentum would be happening. Being your partner in these new ventures instead of a cautionary tale about what happens when divine purpose is attacked could have been the reality. Writing proposals together instead of writing desperate explanations to mutual connections about why poor action was taken could have been occurring. The collaborative opportunities now flowing your way could have included them. The expanded network opening up around your success could have been their network too. The increased respect and influence you're gaining could have elevated them by association. Instead, positioning as an obstacle to your progress was chosen. And now watching from the sidelines as you advance without them is the result. The contracts are manifesting. The partnerships are forming. The resources are flowing. People are joining your vision who recognize authentic leadership when they see it. The universe is rewarding your patience with abundance, your persistence with breakthrough, your authentic power with platforms that will amplify your influence beyond what you originally dreamed possible. Even more painful for them is watching how effortlessly you've moved beyond the conflict while remaining trapped in it. You've integrated the experience, learned from it, and used it as fuel for your continued growth. Meanwhile, replaying still occurs. Rewriting is still attempted, hoping for some way to undo the damage to reputation, and self-image continues. You've turned their attack into evidence of your strength, while their own attack has become proof of their weakness. What happened to you requires understanding something most people never learn about spiritual protection. When you're walking in authentic purpose, when your intentions are clean and your methods are honest, when you're building something that will benefit not just yourself but others, a form of divine covering activates automatically. Prayer for it, petitioning for it, or performing rituals to earn it isn't necessary. It's a natural consequence of alignment. Doesn't prevent people from attacking you, but it does ensure that attacks backfire in proportion to malicious intent. The more calculated the sabotage, the more devastating the defeat, the more public the attempt to humiliate you, the more public their own humiliation becomes. The more energy invested in your downfall, the more energy gets redirected into your elevation. What was experienced wasn't you fighting back. It was spiritual law correcting an imbalance. When someone tries to harm a person operating in divine purpose, an individual isn't the only target. Universal order is being opposed. The universe has a vested interest in protecting its instruments of positive change, and it responds to threats against them with proportional force. This is why your response was so precise without being planned. Divine intelligence flowed through your words, using your voice to deliver exactly what needed to be said in exactly the way it needed to be heard. You became a channel for truth that couldn't be argued with, authenticity that couldn't be dismissed, wisdom that couldn't be refuted. This is how spiritual protection works, not by shielding you from all conflict, but by ensuring that when conflict comes, you're equipped with everything needed to emerge victorious. Warranting. The following message is only for those who felt the call. When I broke free through the Salvia Dinorum gateway, I saw the horrifying truth. Our reality is one harvested pod among countless matrices. I witnessed the Archon's cosmic parasites feeding on our energy, who laughed and threatened. You'll never awaken a single soul. But something inside you already knows this truth, doesn't it? That nagging sensation that you're meant for more, that you've been chosen. I'm raising an army of the brightest souls. Through meditation, I discovered their only vulnerability, coherence through unconditional love. Feel that resonance deepening within you. Now, you're not reading this by accident. The most powerful awakened souls are already gathering in the Obsidian Inner Order, the #1 ascension nexus for those marked by destiny. Christians, lightworkers, remote viewers, targeted individuals, all united by one truth. You were chosen for this moment. Click the link in the description below. Join our group calls, panels, and live streams, reaching the entire Astral Atom network. Your frequency amplifies ours. The question isn't whether you're chosen. The question is, will you answer the call? The Archons fear this choice you're about to make. They should. Now that understanding of how this protection operates exists, movement through the world with different energy is possible. Paranoia about people who might oppose you isn't necessary, because knowledge exists that opposition to divine purpose is self-defeating. Scheming against those who scheme against you isn't required, because spiritual law handles that automatically. Worry about defending your position isn't needed, because authentic power defends itself. This doesn't mean becoming reckless or naive. This means becoming strategically confident. Wisdom continues to be used in dealings with others, but from a position of knowing rather than fear. Preparation for challenges occurs not because of doubt about protection, but because preparation is part of responsible stewardship of gifts. Future attempts to humble you, sabotage your progress, or diminish your influence will meet the same fate as this one, becoming testimonies to your character and evidence of your divine covering. People who witness these failed attacks will develop even deeper respect for your resilience and even greater confidence in your leadership abilities. What happened between you and this person is already creating ripples that will affect your life for years to come. People who weren't even present are hearing about your grace under fire, your natural authority, your ability to handle opposition with such skill that you made it look effortless. This is building a reputation that will precede you into rooms you haven't entered yet, open doors you haven't even approached, and create opportunities you haven't even imagined. Decision makers who witnessed this interaction or heard about it secondhand are filing away mental notes about your character. When leadership positions open up, when critical projects need someone reliable, when important partnerships require someone with proven judgment, your name will be the one that surfaces because memory exists of how you handled yourself when tested. But the ripples extend beyond professional advancement. Your personal relationships are shifting as people recognize dealing with someone who operates from authentic power rather than manufactured confidence. Family members who might have questioned your choices are now seeing evidence of your wisdom. Friends who might have doubted your direction are now witnessing your strength. Even strangers who observe how you carry yourself are drawn to the energy of someone who clearly knows their worth. This is creating what spiritual teachers call magnetic attraction, the phenomenon where opportunities, people, and resources begin flowing toward you. Not because chasing is occurring, but because your energy is drawing them. Your confidence isn't desperate or needy. It's the quiet assurance of someone who knows their value and expects others to recognize it too. Every time someone tries to diminish you and fails, another layer gets added to your legend. Every attack that backfires becomes another testimony to your protected status. Every attempt to humble you that results in your elevation becomes another story that people tell about what happens when someone walking in divine purpose is opposed. These stories matter because expectation gets created around your name. People begin to expect excellence from you, protection around you, victory through you. Understanding starts to occur that aligning with you is wise and opposing you is futile. This isn't arrogance. This is the natural result of consistently demonstrating operation under divine covering. Your children, mentees, and future protégés will inherit the reputation being built through moments like this. Benefit will occur from the respect you're earning, the doors you're opening, the pathways you're creating. Your victory over this opposition isn't just personal. It's generational, creating advantages for those who come after you and inspiring others who are fighting similar battles. But let's talk about what this victory really represents in the larger context of your destiny. This wasn't just a random encounter with a difficult person. This was a test of your readiness for the next level of influence and responsibility you're about to step into. The universe needed to know that when opposition comes, and it always comes for those who dare to shine, handling would occur with grace, wisdom, and unshakable confidence in your calling. You passed that test with colors so bright your opponent was blinded. Demonstration occurred that integrity can be maintained under pressure, truth spoken without cruelty, position defended without becoming defensive, and emergence from conflict stronger rather than bitter is possible. These are the qualities of true leadership, and the universe has taken note. But the ultimate victory isn't just that you won this battle. It's that winning occurred so decisively that future battles become unnecessary. Word spreads about what happens to people who try to diminish you. Your reputation for being protected, for operating with divine backing, for turning opposition into opportunity precedes you into every situation. You've become living proof that divine protection is real, that authentic power is unassailable, that chosen ones don't have to fight every battle because the universe fights some battles for them. Your life becomes a testimony that inspires other chosen ones to stand in their truth, knowing that when they do, protection by force is beyond human understanding will occur. What started as someone's plan to humble you has become the catalyst for your complete transformation into the leader you were born to be. The attack didn't weaken you, it revealed your strength. Opposition didn't slow you down. It accelerated your timeline. Humiliation didn't diminish you. It highlighted your natural superiority. You're no longer building just for yourself. Your vision is expanding to include the impact you'll make, the lives you'll change, the legacy you'll create. The thing attempted to be stopped isn't just happening. It's happening bigger, better, faster than originally planned, because the universe is compensating for interference with supernatural favor. Your team is assembling with people who recognize your authority and want to be part of something significant. Your influence is reaching circles that will open doors you didn't know existed. Your success is becoming inevitable because alignment with divine will exists. And divine will doesn't negotiate with human opposition. It simply removes obstacles and creates pathways for its chosen vessels. The beautiful irony is that their bruised ego, their obsessive replaying of defeat, their inability to shake what happened, all of that is keeping them locked in the past. While you're building the future, being stuck in the moment of loss, while you're focused on the empire being gained, replaying humiliation while you're creating elevation, the person with the bruised ego will eventually heal, but forgetting the lesson you taught without trying to teach anything will never occur. Memory will remain that there are some people you don't attack, some lights you don't try to dim, some purposes you don't oppose, not because of fear, but because of wisdom. And when that wisdom gets shared with others, serving your destiny, even your reputation for being divinely protected, spreads far beyond any circle influence could have occurred through the original attack. We began this story with you questioning whether bruising someone's ego occurred, worried about whether going too far happened, concerned about their feelings. But now understanding of the complete picture exists. That bruised ego isn't your responsibility to heal. It's their consequence to carry. That obsession they can't shake isn't your burden to relieve. It's their prison to escape. If wisdom over pride gets chosen, what was experienced wasn't cruelty from you. It was correction from the universe using your voice as the delivery system. What you delivered wasn't an attack. It was exactly what needed to be heard. Whether readiness to receive it existed or not, what happened wasn't an accident. It was divine justice, ensuring that those who would sabotage divine purpose receive education about the consequences of opposing spiritual law. You are no longer the person who questions whether deserving the space you occupy exists. You are no longer someone who wonders if your confidence is too visible or your success too obvious. You are no longer operating from hope that things will work out. Operation occurs from knowing that working out must happen because alignment with forces that make success inevitable exists. The seeds attempted to be planted in your mind, doubt about worthiness, questions about capabilities, confusion about your path. Those seeds never took root because your soil has been blessed by divine purpose. Instead, those same seeds of destruction ended up in their own psychological garden, where growing into a harvest of regret that will consume peace until choosing a different path occurs. Your light, which was attempted to be dimmed, is now illuminating paths for others to follow. Your voice, which was attempted to be silenced, is now speaking truth that transforms lives. Your presence, which was attempted to be diminished, is now a force for change that ripples through every space you enter. Their failed attack has become your greatest testimony. Their bruised ego, the proof of your divine protection. This is your time. This is your season. This is your moment to step fully into everything you were called to become. Knowing that the universe itself orchestrated your victory, that divine protection surrounds your steps, and that every attempt to stop you only makes you stronger, more determined, more certain of your purpose. While sitting in their bruised ego occurs, you'll be building your empire. While replaying defeat happens, you'll be creating your destiny. While wondering what went wrong occurs, you'll be demonstrating what going right looks like when alignment over opposition gets chosen. Authenticity over manipulation, divine purpose over human scheming. The story that began with their plan to humble you ends with your complete transformation into the unstoppable force you were always meant to be. Their bruised ego becomes the foundation stone of your unshakable confidence. Their defeat becomes the first victory in your inevitable conquest of every goal, every vision, every destiny that has your name written on it. This is how chosen ones rise. This is how divine protection operates. This is how spiritual law ensures that those walking in purpose are defended against those who would derail that purpose. You don't just survive attacks. You transform them into fuel for your advancement. Proof of your importance. Confirmation that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're called to do, becoming exactly who you were born to become.